Meet Christine. She loves shopping. And this is the sound of fashion overload. Too many fabulous things, not enough space. So Christine started selling with The RealReal.
I've always loved collecting designer pieces. Gucci bags, Prada heels. But my style keeps evolving. Selling with The RealReal? Game changer. I earn more, and they do everything.
Seriously, just drop off your items or schedule a pickup. We handle the photos, descriptions, pricing, even shipping. You just sit back and watch your items sell fast to our 38 million members.
And I get peace of mind knowing I earn more selling with The RealReal than anywhere else.
Exactly. That's the sound of your closet working for you. The RealReal. Earn more, save time, sell fast. And right now, you can get an extra $100 site credit when you sell for the first time. Go to therealreal.com to get your extra $100. Therealreal.com. That's therealreal.com.
What must people think?
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of What Most People Think, and I am back out on tour this week. Very much looking forward to being back out there. I think the first couple of dates are sold out, but then there's one on Sunday in a big room in Wimborne, which is near Bournemouth. It's well, let's just call it Bournemouth to try and get as many people in as possible. And there's plenty of news to talk about as well. Andy Burnham will be picking up the Baby Burnham. I thought of the different titles for this show. Keir Starmer. I still don't know which one I'm going to pick, but we'll be looking at the fallout from him being blocked to stand in Gorton and Denton. We'll also look at Donald Trump dishonouring British troops and how the reaction said a lot about this country. And then in the Patron only, we'll be looking at the issue of supposed unconscious racial bias in the Traitors, the TV show The Traitors. Is it woke nonsense? Is it woke nonsense? I've got Jacob Hawley with me today, and it's good because you're young and you pretend to be woke just to, stay
for ticket sales, basically. I ham up how woke I am in the same way that you've hammed up how right wing you are in the past. We're probably both somewhere boring in the middle, but you got to do what you got to do.
But that's not a USP, is it? You know what I mean? Are you woke? I mean, like, within the comedy fraternity, I would imagine you strike them as quite conservative, but among your mates, you are probably woke, Jacob, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%. In terms of comedy, I'd say I'm not getting. If I walked onto the Pleasance Courtyard, which is the sort of trendy spot at the Edinburgh Fringe, no one's moving over to let me sit down because they probably think I am a reform voter. Whereas my mates from back home, who I spend time with over Christmas, who have all got trades and stuff, they call me gay because I wash my hands after using the toilet. So that's where I am politically in terms of. I
mean, that is kind of gay, isn't it? I mean, like,
I've got a few things that my mates from back home told me. These are things that are gay that only a tradesman would tell you. Right? Let me list off a few of these. Another one: using a helmet when riding a bike.
If you're on your own, fine, but once you're in a group of one or more other males, you'd be mad to do that.
Well, what was quite funny is that came about because one of my pals showed us a picture of his 6-year-old son wearing a helmet whilst riding a bike, and everyone said his son was gay for doing that.
Yeah.
Right, another one, the CrossFit machine at the gym. You know when you're sort of holding and doing the treadmill?
Yeah.
Doing it with your feet is fine.
It's not the most masculine motion. I should throw into that, and this is, if we want to talk about going off brand, I've been trying now, because I'm 50 this year and I've got various injuries percolating. So I've started trying to do a bit of Tai Chi.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good for the body and stuff like that. But some of the movements that I do while doing it, if my wife saw me do that, I don't think she'd ever want to sleep with me again. They are very... Ick. Yeah, I mean, I think we haven't spoke about icks on this show for a while. These are these little things that women notice about men that sort of put them off us sexually. They're often, I think, when men act in an unmasculine way. They're kind of quite traditional. There was one that I saw was quite funny. Was a woman got the ick when she was on the beach and she saw the plane coming in that had her husband on it, and the idea of him just sitting on the plane while.
Rather than piloting it.
Yeah, and so she's like, what is he even doing there? What, just sitting having a sip of water while everyone does everything for him?
No, so I get it though. I get it.
I do sort of get it, yeah.
last two things on my list of things that tradesmen would call you gay for, in my experience. Not having children at my age. In early 30s, not having kids. That's a bit fruity, apparently. And then the final one, and I think you'll like, and it's one of those things, it's like, it's not gay, but I do feel very hetero. So knowing where your passport is without having to ask your missus where it is.
No, I totally disagree on that. That's manly to know that shit. Like transport, being able to get in and across borders, that's like Jason Bourne level fucking Ethan Hunt shit, you know?
I completely rely on my girlfriend to know where my passport is, and I feel very hetero. That reliance on her feels very hetero in maybe an Oedipal way, actually.
Even using just the abbreviation hetero is actually not that hetero, I would say. I feel very hetero. Someone's living in range of an Oyster card. You are, but, you know, in terms of having kids and, you know, your life circumstances, it's a massive, massive year for Jacob.
Yeah.
It's a very straight year for you.
Mate, third kid in about 2 weeks' time.
Is that 2 weeks? Oh, my God.
2 weeks, yeah. Married in the summer. Yeah, this is... My year is so hetero that it does feel like I've got something to hide.
It's very straight. How's the blood pressure? I mean, having high blood pressure, that's very straight, isn't it? Like a real man should probably be topping out at about 160.
Blood pressure's fine, but I do have underlying heart problems, and that feels quite hetero. That's a very hetero ailment to have.
Yeah, heart conditions are manly. Piss take prices. I don't know if you've been on the show since we've been doing these, but I feel like given that you've got a wedding coming up this year and a third child, you're going to be very price conscious. So what have you got for us?
So this is actually an international piss take prices. And rather than a specific price of, well, I have got a specific price of something. Have you ever been to Zurich in Switzerland?
Not for a while, no.
Basically, I'd never been to Switzerland. I was vaguely aware they had their own currency. They'd resisted the euro, which again is very hetero of Switzerland.
Yeah, fair play.
But I will say, you get off the plane at the airport in Zurich, and it's like, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, everything's clean, everything works, to the point where, you know where you go to a country where everything's that efficient and clean, you have a slight fear in the back of your head. You go, something fascist has happened here, you know?
Well, they flirted with it, definitely.
Well, this is it, but you're like, something evil has happened in this country for everything to work this well. And then I got a cab from the airport to my hotel, and I paid 70 quid for a 15-minute taxi journey. And I went, oh, okay, this is what's going on. Mate, I got there, and it was a decent fee to perform in Zurich, but that fee starts dwindling once you've paid for that cab. I thought I'd go for a dinner with Maisie Adam, who was performing as well. That went out the window when I did the 70 quid cab. A McDonald's in Zurich, so I thought I'll just go for the cheapest thing. £24 for a large meal. Just for me, for a large meal at McDonald's in Zurich.
It is interesting. I mean, when you talk about overheads when you're away gigging overseas, I did a run of gigs in Dubai in 2011, and I was having a thoroughly miserable time because I went out there in June when you can't even go by the pool after 11 a.m. or, you know. The company was interesting on that tour. It wasn't the most sociable trip I've ever been on with other comics. And so I was just like I was newly on Twitter. And of course, as we all know, if you want to talk about the ultimate piss take price, the price per megabyte in the UAE.
Oh, mate.
So obviously Twitter downloads his photos and videos. Anyway, put it this way. I was out there 12 days. Half of my feed went on just fucking about on Twitter, to the point where when I got back to the UK, they suspended my phone account and I was stuck at Heathrow.
You look around at the other comics on that lineup and you go, God, if you'd have been a laugh, you could have saved me £1,000. If I could have had a conversation with you, it would have saved me £1,000.
New patrons. I should say, if you want to get the podcast early, ad-free, and with bonus content, go to Patron and join up. If you do it via the website or Android, that's better for creators like myself and Jacob because we get more of the money. Apple Podcasts, there's a slight levy going on there, but if it's the only way you can sign up, by all means do it that way. It is worth signing up at the moment because I've got a radio project that's unannounced, but I will be doing live records for a thing soon, and there will be some free tickets, which will obviously go priority through the tiers on Patreon. We've got a couple of people to announce here. As you remember, Jacob, we roast them based on their names. I don't think I announced these guys before, but Greg Rushton, Premier
League referee from up north, bald head,
It's all about him as well.
Yeah, that's it. That's
the new Graham Poll.
The only referee who enjoys that bit where they get to just tell the stadium the result of the VAR decision.
He really projects. He does it like the referee on Gladiators. Who's it? Is it Mark Clattenburg? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Clatts.
Clat.
Yeah, really, really over enunciates. Greg Rushton and Andrew Kyle.
Andrew Kyle.
He sounds like a college shooter. Andrew Kyle, like, you know, they found stuff in his room, like he had a weird obsession with early 90s action films. You know, that really violent era of Schwarzenegger and Stallone movies. Yeah. And he had a tattoo of John Rambo, like, on his forearm. So there you go. Look, your roast can either be that you're a referee that slightly shows off or a cold-blooded killer. So if you want to get roasted like that, go to Patreon and sign up. So there's plenty of benefits to come in the near future. The main talking points, I was talking to Rachel Fairburn. So she was saying that, you know, a lot of single men these days have got to sort themselves out and haven't got the right sort of mindset going into relationships. And I pointed out the high divorce rate among lesbians. So David Domain has clarified the stats for us. From the Office for National Statistics stated in 2022, the median average length of marriages that ended in divorce, 12.9 years for heterosexual couples. That feels long, you know, given what...
Make your mind up before then, surely. It's surely a thing if you make the call in the first couple of years, or you do your full 30 years, get the kids out of the house and then call it a day.
Yeah, 12.9. I suppose that would be, we had a couple of years as a couple, then we had some kids, then the kids got to 9 years old, and the first point I felt I could reasonably do this, I did it. 7.5 years for male-to-male couples, and a paltry 6.3 years for female-to-female couples. So I feel like that proves that women are the problem. Any issues with that, email whatmostpeoplethinkuk@gmail.com. But there you go. It's there in numbers form. Women, harder to live with. They'll be pushed back for that. Okay, wind chill factors. We were talking as well a couple of weeks ago about feels like, you know, with temperatures, where it says like on the Apple app, it will say like 7 degrees, feels like -2. And it felt like to me oddly subjective, because you don't know what it feels like to me. You just felt a little bit unscientific in the world of meteorology. So do you know what it's determined by, the feels like?
It's purely what you want. It's objective driven. I live with a 55 kilo tiny little Irish woman, and thus it always feels like the Antarctic for her. Yeah. Therefore, she has the heating on 24/7 from about middle of September to the middle of May, and my heating bills are about 300 quid a month. So to her, it feels like the Antarctic. Whereas to me, I do a lot of these podcasts, and a lot of the time I'll be wearing a vest, because to me, it feels like Dubai. I feel like my phone bill should be about 200 quid a month, because I feel like I'm in the Middle East most of the time.
I bet you thought when you got with an Irish woman, you thought, now there's a lady that will be able to withstand subpar temperatures. And yet...
That's it.
And yeah, she got some sort of like Arabian blood in her, or what?
What she's got... In the west of Ireland, where she's from, you can do what you want. They live in fields. Do you know what I mean? It's proper rural, in the sense they've all got old wood fires in their houses, right? So she's used to sitting next to a fire, an actual bonfire. So she doesn't, unless she has got open flame next to her. Like the most cost efficient thing I could do would be to buy a gas hob and just sit her next to that all day, because that's what she grew up with.
It'd be a weird optic, wouldn't it? It'd be like the final scene from one of those really bleak 1950s plays, or a poem with Sylvia Plath. There you go, literary reference there. We might not sound clever, we fucking are. It's determined, feels like it's determined by wind, which blows away the warm air from the skin, humidity for cooler, colder temperatures. Higher relative humidity will make a given temperature feel colder, because moisture coating the skin transfers heat away from the body. And then obviously sun. Some forecasters will factor in sun strength. This is then known as the apparent temperature. So there you go. Feels like, all right, fine, there might be a scientific basis. Give it a different name, because it sounds a little bit Kardashian, doesn't it? You know, like they're always going, I feel like...
It should have that sort of West Coast drawl on the end of it. I feel like...
Yeah, was it the vocal fry?
What most people think.
Okay, the thank you and the fuck you. Jacob will do the fuck you. I'll say thank you, January, for finally coming to an end this week. I don't know about you, Jacob, but it's felt like a very long January, shit weather, cold, lot of rain, global uncertainty. And just so many of the people I know are having a tough time of it. You know, everywhere you go, oh, yeah, it's been a bit tough. As the Gen Z would say, January has been Januarying.
Yes.
Is that how you put it?
Yeah, I've done it on hard mode as well. I did the full dry Jan. I'm on a 1,200 calorie a day diet. I've told you about this before. Me and my group of friends that I grew up with, we do a very toxic fitness challenge where we basically give ourselves eating disorders for a month and see who can lose the most weight. And so, yeah, I've been starving myself. I've been dry, and this month has felt about 6 months long.
I mean, you said toxic because it sounded like you were trying to pull it to sounding masculine. But I'm just thinking, is this your same tradesmen that call everything gay?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's they call everything gay, but they're desperate to get Beachbody ready for February at the same time.
Yeah, I was just going to say, a group of lads agreeing on a group chat to sort of swap calorie and health tips and limit yourself to 1,200. It's like fucking Kate Moss and Naomi Campbell. They're doing the same thing in January.
We're talking about steps. Every day we're talking about steps. How can you get more steps? It's embarrassing.
Do you notice how my supermodel references, I had to go right back to the mid-90s there, Kate Moss and Naomi Campbell. Yeah. This will be a thing that happens as you get older, is your references don't update. So among my friends recently, we were trying to, well, one of us was dressed well and he was like, oh, look at you with the fucking threads on. You're like, and he went, Jeff Banks. Jeff Banks from the Clothes Show in the early 90s. And was like, and then we were going, who would the clothes guy be these days? So one of the issues is that, you know, it's like if you try and give somebody a reference for a blind person, you say famous blind person, a lot of people go Stevie Wonder, right? And then you go, all right, more recent, they go David Blunkett. Now, Chris McCausland is a good option, but I tell you what, most people struggle when it's a big problem. Blind references, you know, they're really lagging. We need some new talent coming through. So what is your fuck you, Jacob?
My fuck you is the concept of nesting that pregnant women will do in the sort of 2 or 3 week run up to the kid being born. And that's what I'm in at the moment. So I should say this was an unplanned third child that it came about because after the second kid, my missus said, do you reckon you'd ever want a third? I said no. I said, I'm probably going to go for the old vasectomy. She said, no, we don't need to do that. Modern contraception, you don't need to just take a pair of scissors to your knackers. So she said we should get an app that tracks her fertility and her cycle. I don't mind telling you, we decided to use the free version of that app. And that £7.99 looks pretty cheap right now. But so she's been nesting, which is like, right, it's a primal thing. We're getting the nest ready for the baby to be born. But that would make sense if all she wanted was a cot. In the last 3 weeks, she's got 2 new wardrobes, an ottoman. I don't know if you know what that is. Again, very not particularly hetero.
Thing at the end of the bed.
That's it.
It's very 70s thing, that, yeah.
Yeah, sort of a box with a cushion on the top. So I've just been building flat pack furniture while she prepares the nest, and it's a lot of getting rid of stuff, clearing stuff out. At one point, she tried to clear me out. I got dumped as part of the nesting procedure. She decided that
very efficient there.
I get sent to the charity shop as well.
Do you think though that the part of it is like, you know, then it's not really a thing, but they're just going, I want some cool shit?
Absolutely. This is used as an excuse. Yeah.
I mean, it's good that you're saying this to me because it feels like stuff that you shouldn't say to her at this point, given that she's been pregnant and physically compromised for several months.
Cannot stress enough. I can't stress enough. She's out of the house right now. That's what I'm saying. This is therapy for me.
It'll just remain between us, mate. Do you ever get that when you say stuff on podcasts that you're worried that? Do you sometimes get the fear that you'll say something and then somebody will just send the clip to your missus?
100%. I've told her that with my various podcasts, I've told her that listening figures are down. No one likes it anymore. There's no point in you listening to it. You wouldn't enjoy it. No one else does. And that means I can say whatever I want about her and her wretched fertility system.
Okay, we're going to talk politics now. We're going to start off with the big story domestically of the last few days, which is Andy Burnham getting shunned by Keir Starmer. So quick recap here. Andy Burnham, who tried twice to be the Labour leader before. This guy, Andrew Gwynn, I think his name was, he resigns for mental health reasons in the constituency of Gorton and Denton. I don't know about you, Jacob. I thought Gorton and Denton sounded like a writing duo from the 70s. The old Gorton and Denton sitcoms. Oh, do you remember those? But brilliant they were.
Back in the day, Gorton and Denton would say whatever they wanted back in the day. It's not like it is nowadays.
Did they use the M word? Yes, they did, but it was very characterful. So Gorton and Denton, a constituency in Manchester, obviously Andy Burnham, King of the North, he would have been a shoo-in to win that, you would have thought. Mm-hmm. There's a deadline, comes round on Saturday, which I thought was brilliant. 5 p.m. deadline. I mean, if you like people say, well, we need to not focus on the psychodrama of the Labour Party. Well, don't set fucking deadlines for just after the final whistle. So it literally comes in with kind of like sports report on 5 Live when everybody's listening. And then Andy Burnham, who, let's be honest, doesn't hate being spoken about. He does it in like 1 minute to 5 that he's going to stand. And so he's in there now, and a lot of Labour MPs, like cabinet ministers, even Ed Miliband, thought they should have been allowed to stand. Angela Rayner, senior figure in the Labour Party, he's got a lot of support that at least he should be able to stand for this seat. And then the NEC group, which is a smaller subset of the NEC, so there's the wider one. And then there's the group, which Starmer has particularly packed out with his mates. They meet on Sunday, and then we get the news yesterday. So we're recording this Monday, just coming up for lunchtime. We get the news yesterday that they've decided by an 8-1 majority that he can't stand. I mean, first up, it's kind of weird because I thought Starmer was going to claim that he wasn't on that group, right? And he quite smartly, I think, has just said, yeah, I was blatantly there, and I am a part of this decision. What I think from a comedic point of view is funny is how Starmer put over his logical reasons why Burnham shouldn't run. Do you reckon at any point he just said, I think people like him more than me, and he's gonna challenge me, and he's gonna take my job, and I don't want that to happen. Do you reckon at any point he just said the truth, or was it all about the cost of a Manchester mayoral run and the distractions? Do you think he ever came clean in that meeting?
Surely he. I mean, come on. It's one of those where that meet, and they all sort of look at him like, right, we know. Do you know what I mean? We know.
Yeah, mayoral race, all a bit pricey these days, isn't they?
Oh God, yeah,
there, mate.
Bit tight on money for a mayoral race, aren't we? We can't really fund that. I haven't read all the reasons that they've given for why he can't stand, but it's clear as day. And Starmer's kind of snookered, right? He has to do this. He has to not let him stand because Burnham would wipe the floor with him. On the likability scale, Burnham DJ'd at 3 festivals last summer. Do you know what I mean? This guy's a laugh to the point where I was almost surprised that he went for it, because I think Burnham has kind of got the pretty cushy option of going, you know what? I can sit here, watch Starmer make a mess of things. Everyone likes me in Manchester. Other MPs calling for me to come in. It's pretty easy to be the guy who doesn't ever have to do it, but look like he could do it. It's sort of like, I've seen a lot of Man United fans say, God, if we'd have given Zinedine Zidane the job at United, he would have smashed it. And Zinedine Zidane can sit there going, I probably would. He never has to go in there and deal with Patrick Dorgu. I mean, he scored yesterday, but you get my point. It's almost easier to be on the outside looking like a better option than it is to throw your hat in the ring. So respect to Burnham for that, but Starmer's completely snookered. He had to do what he did. Well,
I do have some sympathy for that. Is that the moment that Burnham started agitating to do it, he was in a pretty bad situation. You say, well, there was no other choice, or there was no other option. There was another sort of situation where it wouldn't have been a problem for him, is if he'd been doing a good job and was popular. Because if he was doing a good job and was popular, none of this would have been an issue. You'd have just said, right, he's a senior figure. I could probably do that right now in my cabinet. Somebody that can communicate with the public, our front bench. There's Wes Streeting. Who else is there? Yvette Cooper, not really setting the world alight, is she? No. In fact, who else has he got? David Lammy was Foreign Secretary, and now he's, I don't know, Justice of the something or other. I mean, yeah. All I knew was that he got his job was changed, and then suddenly there was the Epping Forest guy was on the loose in Chelmsford, having a bit of carrot cake at Costa, having been released incorrectly. That was the last I knew of what David Lammy was up to. There was another scenario, and it must have been weird to be sitting on this NEC meeting where, but also fair play to the one person that just said, I reckon we should let him have a go. Good, Gareth, interesting. We want all opinions.
Yeah.
Here. But, you know, this is the Keir Starmer's mates group, and we're looking at the guy that could unseat Keir Starmer. We sort of moving towards not letting him in.
I mean, unless it's one of those things where it's like, God, if all 9 of us vote for not letting him have a go, it almost looks too ridiculous. Do you know, we have to have one just to make it look like it's not, just to make it look like it's not completely for that reason.
They should have just pulled up the names like in the Traitors.
Yeah.
They should have got, I vote for Keir, and they're like, and then Keir Starmer go, look, don't say it like that. That sounds bad. Don't say I vote for Keir. Just say I vote. You know, about 5 answers, distractions.
What most people think.
I mean, the problem is there's a legacy to this now. A lot of people said, right, you know, it's Starmer's fans. I mean, there's this guy, Tom Baldwin, who's his biographer. I honestly wish anybody loved and believed in me like Tom Baldwin believes in Keir Starmer. Whatever the fuck happens, he's out there batting for Starmer. This is what he had to do. He shot this down. He's been ruthless. A lot of people have given him credit for being ruthless. Being ruthless is only a good thing if it ends up playing out well for you. If it ends up you now got a king over the water and he comes back with even more public support, ruthlessness is kind of by the by.
It has to be difficult as well. Ruthlessness has to be difficult. You have to go in and stand up when it's easier not to go into that group and go, hey, me and 8 of my mates think this is probably a bad idea. That's not ruthless. It's easy. It's the easy option. The ruthless option would be to go, you know what, I do believe I'm more popular than you, and he isn't, unless you are Tom Baldwin, and to go, let him come and I'm going to beat him. That would be ruthless. To go, I don't care, I believe in myself.
That was the other option, you know, is to have a chat with him and then to come out and say, I'll let him run. Andy's assured me that he's not going to do a leadership contest. I trust him. You know, you could have actually set some little traps along the way. But now the idea of being running scared is going to follow him around. And if you're Kemi Badenoch looking at Wednesday's PMQs, she must just be limbering up, mate. Do you know what I mean? She must just be doing stretches, kind of going, is it how many sleeps? How many sleeps till PMQs? Because like the idea that you can just point and go, you ran away from a challenge. Now, obviously that will abate. You know, the press won't be able to talk about this forever. But every time like the next poll comes out about his popularity, or as everyone expects that they're going to get smashed in the locals in May and in Wales and in Scotland. And also, what if they lose the by-election now to reform? Yeah, that's a problem, isn't it? That is a massive problem.
It's a big problem. And I've got to be honest, I voted for my sins. I voted for Starmer at the last election. I said give him a go. And I look at it now, and the bleak future this country's got, I wanted this to happen. I wanted Burnham to go in as an MP, to eventually mount a leadership challenge, probably off the back of what is going to happen in May. I think if there was any future for the Labour Party, it would have been under Andy Burnham. I really think we're going to look back in a few years' time when Labour poll behind reform, probably behind the Greens as well now, and go, this was the moment that you could have saved it. This was the moment where if you cared about the country as much as you claim to, Keir, you'd have let democracy happen. You'd have let Andy Burnham take that seat. And if he did mount a leadership challenge, you'd have let democracy happen. I really think we're going to look back on this as a massive moment in what will be the ultimate downfall of the Labour Party.
Just personally, weirdly, as much as I'm happy to kind of enjoy the drama at the Labour Party, you know, inside the Labour Party, I do think, give me a choice of Starmer to run the country or Burnham, I'd probably veer closer to Starmer. But maybe that's the problem, right? Is that someone like me would prefer to have Keir Starmer, but that isn't really playing to the Labour Party membership. So just in terms of the membership, over 2/3 thought that Burnham should have been allowed to stand. And when it comes to popularity of Starmer among the Labour membership, Burnham is twice as popular with Labour members. But this would be my worry, is that to win a Labour membership contest, you have to move left, right? Just like Starmer did. What he said, everything, we're going to smash tuition fees on the head. We're going to rejoin the EU. Do you know what I mean? We're going to have every second Friday off for the country, or whatever the fuck it was he promised.
Free broadband, bring back some Corbyn policies,
free milk. Do you know what I mean?
School meals for teachers as well as students. Go all out,
Deliveroo for teachers every fourth week, you know, like just before half term, everyone gets takeaway. You know, he would do all that stuff. And this is Andy Burnham. This is what I'm trying to wonder, is like, what is his skill set? Does he have one, or is it just vibes? Like, he's got a good brand, King of the North, fucking amazing, right? You know, he has that moment where he stood there, you know, looking like a ticket tout with his heavies behind him. But I just wonder, like, what is he? There was a joke I saw doing the rounds online saying that a Starmerite, a Corbynite, a Blairite and a Brownite and a Milibandite walk into a bar and the barman says, "Hello, Mr. Burnham," because he's sort of been all of these things variously. Like, I don't know what his political orientation is. I also don't know if, we could cope with eyelashes like that at number 10.
He's too pretty. But this is, man, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It is vibes. It is vibes. It's a guy who can perform at Tea in the Park if he needs to. And ultimately, I think we're in such desperate straits. If you are, like myself, centre-left and probably would rather it be a Labour government than either Reform or Tory, we're clutching at straws. We're looking at what's there and going, it's this, maybe Miliband.
There aren't many good options. I mean, you mentioned about Andy Burnham DJing. I was just sort of thinking what Keir Starmer could do. Andy Burnham could conceivably be invited to DJ at a festival. I think Keir Starmer is one of those ones that even if you was at a small family gathering and he went to put on one of his playlists, you go, no, you don't get to do this. He said, but just it's a really good. It's Genesis, but remastered.
The only good vibes he ever had any chance of having was the football thing, I think, with Starmer, and you see him lean on that from time to time. But and this has been said before, I've never seen, and he is genuinely, he plays five-a-side every week. Yeah. He goes to games. I've never seen someone sound less like they know what the offside rule is. It's the most unconvincing football fan.
It's unbelievable.
Exactly.
It's the truest part of his personality and the thing that he's least able to sell. I just don't think Starmer's ever really given a full account of exactly who he is, because actually, he quite likes riding the big moral high horse like he did over Partygate and stuff like that. But he's capable of some very political sharp practice, right? So we know this about him. This is why the public don't trust him, because that he's packed out the NEC. That he's dispatched with his opponents and he's changed position all the time. If he just sort of let who he is have a relationship with the British public, he might have stood a chance. But at this point, I don't think. I mean, I've said for years on this podcast, I said that he would not make it 2 years as Prime Minister because eventually Labour would realise he wasn't going to be as left-wing as they wanted, and they would eventually elect someone to do some left-wing stuff. And I'm sticking with that bet. So I said at the beginning of the show, back out on tour, 40 dates all around the UK, Ipswich, Loughborough, Derby, Wellingborough, Coventry, Solihull. I tell you what, if it's got a Travelodge, I'm fucking there. So go to Live Nation. Although what I sometimes do, Jacob, is that if I've say for example, this weekend, right? I'm Salisbury on Saturday. I think there's about 4 tickets left. And then Wimborne, big room, but I think we're like 90% sold. I've got a Travelodge in Ringwood for 45 quid, you see.
Wow.
Pick one halfway between.
£45.
Yeah, man.
45.
Yeah, this is the opposite of piss take pro. At that money, you're going, yeah, I'll throw in late checkout. I'll do the breakfast as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's nice having known you a few years now. It doesn't matter what level your tours get to. You could be doing Palladiums. You'd still be staying in Finsbury Park at the Travel.
If it's clean and I will sleep well there, I will stay there. Okay. The moment I get in a Premier Inn, it's a bit too fancy for my liking.
I'll be honest with you. I'm still on Airbnbs. Where my tours are slightly more modest than yours, I'm still on Airbnbs. I did a date in Cornwall a couple of years ago, and when you don't check the Airbnb, you can end up in dodgy places. I was basically in someone's garage 2 years ago. They've converted their garage into a bedroom, and I was in someone's garage.
Yeah, no, those are the why am I doing this moments. I remember once I remember I did a gig in Plymouth and then I had a gig in Weston-super-Mare on the way home, and I got there and I thought I'll just kill a day in Weston-super-Mare. In the end, I ended up sitting in my car in the car park. It was raining and pissing down, and I was just thinking, being a teacher would be better than this. No offense to Weston-super-Mare, but I was just sitting there trying to save money, and the things that you think will take time to kill time just don't. You go, I'll have a nice leisurely hour and a half lunch. 15 minutes in, they bring you the food straight away and then tell you to fuck off. So life on the road is fun, but the gigs are always a joy. What have you got that we need to give a shout out to?
Well, I'll be releasing a stand-up special on YouTube in the middle of February. It's called The King of Holloway Road, and that'll be out then. And I'll also be announcing my own tour at the end of this week. So potentially when this has come out, I'll have announced my tour. That goes on sale in the middle of February. If you join my mailing list, you get priority access to those tickets, and that's in the usual place, links in bios and websites and all that kind of thing.
And what are you calling this tour?
The tour is called Fighting Age Man. I thought that's a nice reference to a phrase that's in the media a lot at the moment, Fighting Age Man.
It also abbreviates to FAM, which is,
No accident, mate. No accident for a man with 3 children.
Very on brand. Right, we're going to talk about Donald Trump. We're sort of like, obviously last week was a bit of a mental week. We're just sort of picking up the pieces because at the back end of the week, there was this hoo-ha about Donald Trump. He talked about Afghanistan. He talked about NATO. And it was put to him that, NATO forces had supported the US in Afghanistan. And he said, I think they stayed a little bit back from the front. And quite naturally, they fucking didn't, but facts. Donald Trump isn't burdened by facts, Jacob. You know what I mean? That's what a normal guy would do. It's vibes of him. What feels right? What feels useful to my argument? And so it was one of those moments where it blew up in a big way. And I don't think these days often you get a moment where the UK reacts almost completely in the same way. So you had Prince Harry, fair play. He served alongside NATO forces, He had a say. At one point, Rod Stewart got involved. Did you see the Rod Stewart video?
I haven't seen that. But when Rod Stewart is condemning a president, he's really slipped.
Well, he was wearing some outfit, Rod Stewart, that was sort of quasi-military, and he looked like he'd had a couple of G&Ts, and he sort of demanded that Keir Starmer and Nigel Farage apply pressure to the president. And then, slightly unexpectedly, there was a sort of retraction, Donald Trump. Now, I don't know if as many people who would have seen the retraction as heard the original comment, but he went on Truth Social and he basically just said loads of lovely things about the British Armed Forces and that they were great warriors and all of this kind of stuff. So, it was a situation with Starmer where it could have been a win there because that was a direct consequence of Keir Starmer getting in touch with him. And Starmer had his strongest words yet when he came out and said, I think these comments were appalling. And there was a little bit of deputy head of year vibes, like you're in trouble with the head of year. But it was kind of nice, wasn't it? I was trying to think when the UK sort of took a singular stance on one thing, and I thought maybe it was when that woman made tea in the microwave. That was the last time I could remember.
The woman that went viral for putting a cat in the bin. It didn't matter whether you were right or left. No one's allowed to put a cat in the bin in this country.
That's not right.
Yeah, there's got to be a line, and that might be it. I know people who are pro-Trump. I know like people in the UK who are pro-Trump who say we need a character like that. But it doesn't matter where you are politically, how far right you might have gone. You always stick up for British forces. Do you know what I mean? And ironically, people on the right who maybe would have been in favour of Trump, they're maybe the people that are even more favour of correctly remembering lives lost by our military supporting NATO.
You say that, but there was people on social media sort of saying to me, like, yeah, but President Trump's done this on immigration, he's done that on the economy. I'm like, brilliant, but can you not just accept in this one issue, like he's completely got it wrong? And then there were parts of UK MAGA that have gone so far in that direction that they're almost trying to imply that sticking up for the British Armed Forces is left wing, like fucking yeah, like you're like, lads, you really need to have a day off social media. Sorry, this is not left wing to say that I want to, we need to be honourable towards our fallen troops. It is a weird situation that they've got themselves in, and I do wonder, like, I mean, there are probably people that if there was video of Trump putting a cat in a bin, there would be people on X going, yeah, but like you don't understand, like the cat was staring at him, and cats probably had fleas. He was actually doing us a favour.
The cat was Haitian. The cat that they were eating the other cats and the other dogs.
He saved that cat from being eaten.
The only way you can sort of hand wave these comments of Trump, if you are a sort of British MAGA guy, you have to just own it and go, you know what? He just chats a lot of shit. He just chats a lot of shit. If you're willing to take everything that man says seriously, you're going to get upset at some point. He just chats bollocks. It's like one of those random sentence generators. Do you know what I mean? It's like you leave the monkey in the room with the typewriter for long enough. It doesn't matter how right wing he is. He will eventually discredit British troops in the Middle East.
Did you hear when you talk about him just doing the free form stream of consciousness stuff, when he was doing his announcement of the Board of Peace thing, he started talking about the world and regions, and he called the world a region, and you almost hear him laugh to himself. I think we'll put the clip in, actually. We'll play it now.
Together we are in a position to have an incredible chance. I don't even call it a chance. I think it's going to happen. To end decades of suffering, stop generations of hatred and bloodshed, and forge a beautiful, everlasting, and glorious peace for that region and for the whole region of the world, because I'm calling the world a region. The world is a region. We're going to have peace in the world. And boy, would that be a great legacy for all of us. Everybody in this room is a star.
And so what happens there is you can hear in his voice that he laughs. He goes, I just called the world a region. Then he goes, yeah, fuck it. I'm calling the world a region. I'm in my...
Mate, he's a comedian. Every now and then when we're on stage, we'll riff on something. And in our heads, we'll go, God, that was bollocks. What am I on about? Yeah. But you have to just firm it. You have to just firm it. Keep doing the gig. You know, your mouth keeps moving while your brain is going, I don't know what I've just said there.
What most people think.
I mean, it is. I was also thinking about US MAGA. Like a lot, you know, there's a very devoted fan base there. But I wonder how exhausted they're feeling, because if you look at, like, you know, they've sort of defended Doge when some of that stuff. Yeah, I agree with trimming government spending, but there were some hard things there. Then they've defended ICE. I mean, they've got to stop giving things cool names, by the way. Doge, ICE. They are undeniably cool things to call, you know, but then, you know, these shootings that happen. I do wonder, right, if there are people that will publicly still be going in about for everything Trump does, but also secretly thinking we're only 1 year in out of 4 here. And I was sort of wondering if the next US president, because, you know, like Jimmy Carter came after, like, Nixon and, you know, like a period of real high personality president. Yeah. I wonder if the next US president will be like an American version of Keir Starmer. They'll just literally go, we just need 4 years off.
Yeah, I'm just a normal guy. I'm just a suit, man. I mean, that's what my dad's been saying for a long time. He was like, it's gone so far this way, so far that way. It's so populist on both sides. You just need someone in a suit. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm just like an ex-accountant. If an ex-accountant just came into America and went, I've got no big ideas. I'm not that arsed about trans people or migrants. Whichever way you want, I don't really care. I'm just going to keep a lid on things. No more Doge, no more ICE. Elon Musk isn't allowed in to take ketamine in the White House anymore. Yeah. And we're just gonna chill out and have a cup of tea and a bit of toast for the next 4 years.
I'm not even going to run again. It's just 4 years of this. Then you can go back to the exciting stuff. It's like I'm not left. I'm not right. I'm not pro or anti-trans. I don't even give a shit about trans.
Yeah.
Just let's have 4 years off. I mean, they might even bring in Keir Starmer on a Bosman to just do a stint there. But, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's showing a massive misunderstanding of the states. I do think one thing we've got here is we're not quite as tribal as that yet. And, you know, when you've dug in publicly, gone into bat so much, there is almost no latitude to go back the other way. Okay, now in the Patron-only section, myself and Jacob are going to tie ourselves in knots talking about unconscious bias racially in the Traitors and other reality shows. But for everybody else, it will be the end of the show. But if you want to hear this, just join the Patreon. Okay, yeah, if you want to hear me and Jacob having that discussion there about, how you could potentially fix unconscious bias. I'm not sure we really came up with a workable solution there, but it was an interesting Jacob, as I say, I'm back out on tour this week. Your tour goes on sale the end of this week?
Middle of February. I announce it at the end of January. Tickets on sale middle of February.
And it is called Fighting Age Male.
Fighting Age Man.
Fighting Age Man. What's your photo of it? Do you look like a bit punchy on it? Or have you gone for the classic like bait and switch where you're looking all beta and soy?
No. This is basically I noticed it a few years ago, and I'm not saying I was a trendsetter, but I was one of the early adopters of the sort of like trendy look into the distance and a slight pout. And so this time I've noticed other comedians do that now. So I've gone the other way. I'm staring down the camera The picture was taken in my local off licence, and I'd say it's an aggressive looking photo to match the fighting age man title of the tour.
Okay, well, there you go. But be aware that if you are middle class and, a bit of a pussy, you are still very welcome, in many ways. It'll be a chance for you to sort of be a bit of a vicarious experience. What's it like to be with somebody who looks like he knows his way up a lamppost, or somebody that when he was young offered to guard somebody's car for a $5. Listen, Jake, thanks so much for being on the show this week. This week, there won't be a breaking news episode, but if you're a Patreon, we will be doing the monthly Patreon-only, questions-only episode. So if you want to get involved, do go to Patreon and join it. Otherwise, I will speak to you next week.